Hello and good afternoon. My name is Sarah, and today we're going to be going over Amazon and the online shopping industry. We're going to be talking about where this industry and where this company stands right now in several markets, and we're also going to be using several analytical tools later. But right now, let's just get a good feel for what Amazon actually is. Now, I probably don't have to tell you. I mean, Amazon is a monster. It has its hands in everything right now. They pretty much sell anything and everything you could dream of, and their quality is, I believe the perception of that is pretty good. It was founded by Jeff Bezos on July 5th, 1994, and it is now the largest internet store in the world. I mean, who can imagine that it grew from just a small bookstore to something so large? Like I said, Amazon has its hands in everything. It's very diversified, and it sells anything from streaming videos, from downloads, audiobooks, software, video games, electronics, apparel, and food. I mean, Amazon is a very versatile, very successful company, and we're going to see where it's standing in the market right now to make sure that it stays successful. Now, we can't talk about Amazon without talking about its founder, Jeff Bezos. So this is a little bit of history on Jeff Bezos. So who is he? He is pretty much known as the richest man in the world. He's the first actual centibillionaire on wealth, which means he has $100 billion. He worked on Wall Street for a while, and then he decided to go ahead and develop Amazon. Now, Amazon has so many different things that they're into right now, but as along for the website, it is just as exotic as its namesake. There's so many different things working together in harmony to bring you this great brand. Now, he revolutionized shopping. He made things in which a way a lot of people would say better than a brick and mortar store. You're not very limited to what your experience is as a shopper, and he sort of brought that all to us. His innovation has advanced from a bookstore to an empire. So Amazon was first a bookstore for textbooks and regular books, and it was going to be the largest bookstore in the world. And through his innovation and his ideas and his genius, he went ahead and added so many different things. And now Amazon.com is still the largest bookstore, but it also sells so many other different mediums and media. He's there selling all sorts of things to people, MP3s, downloading audiobooks, video games, electronics, apparel, furniture, food, anything you can think of. He was named Person of the Year in 1999 by Time, and he is now the wealthiest man who has ever lived. So that's how successful he has been. If you measure his success with money, which is not necessarily always the case, however, his brand has been very successful, which has brought him a lot of money. Next, I would bring you to online shopping and marketing now. So this is what's going on in the industry right now, which is what you should be interested in. The current statistical analysis of online sales and marketing is that it is a growing industry. Although the internet's growth has recently exploded, internet sales were nearly non-existent in the mid-1990s. However, in 2000, U.S. sales were $27.3 billion, and that is just crazy how much it has exploded since then. Domestic sales alone are, through the roof, as well as global. This is an impressive growth, of course, and the consumers are connecting it to, and they're purchasing things through the web. It suggests such a lucrative audience for advertising messages. So there's a lot of contact with customers, which means there's a lot of different ways that we can advertise and get out there and market this wonderful brand. It's safe to say the climate is rich and the sales are here to stay. The internet is revolutionizing how we shop, and I don't think it's going to go backwards anytime soon. It's too good. So where does Amazon fit into this? Well, Amazon is the paradigm. It has been for a long time, and it is a dependable household name. A lot of our houses and lights and radios are actually run by Amazon now. We all use the app for shopping, and it is just the absolute paradigm of internet shopping. So now we're going to start with the PESTLE analysis portion of our industry and company analysis altogether. First, we're going to start with the political analysis of which means what's going on right now politically that could affect the brands and even the industry as a whole. The first thing that I would think of here is, as you can see, these little tweets right here. Now, they're not made by a little man at all. They're made by the President of the United States, and he's calling out Amazon by name. Now, I mean, what kind of political impact can online shoppers expect to see from this? And not even the shoppers, but the brand. Well, leaders in governmental offices and legislation, their views may affect the brand altogether. As I showed you the example above of Donald Trump and his negative comments. Now, no matter what you think about politics, it can't be good for his opinion to be shaping the brand and private business. That just can't be a good thing. So, especially not for Amazon. So we don't want to scare people away from e-commerce, and we definitely don't want to scare people away from the brand. So, Amazon in other countries might suffer because of the political problems with the brand. Also, I would even bring up the fact that the Washington Post is owned by Amazon, and they are often under scrutiny and attack from some governmental leaders. They won the Pulitzer Prize in 2013, and now they're under a lot of scrutiny and a lot of a lot of opinions are kind of ascending down onto them. So I would say that this would be one of the most important things in the political analysis. The next part of our PESTLE analysis would be the economical portion. So how does the economy affect the online consumer? Well, one way is consumers are now no longer subject to regional price trends, which could be a good thing or a bad thing depending on where you live and what the trend is. How do consumer capabilities impact the business? Internet savviness is relative to certain demographics. For example, maybe great-grandma is not too great with using the computer or the app on her phone. So this would limit her contact with Amazon. Factors like internet speed, payment methods, and even distrust of online shopping can impact the industry. So all of these things that are in our little microeconomies that live and survive around us can be a big factor for the economical analysis. If we can't access the internet, we can't necessarily shop on the internet. So that would be another big factor there. And also going out of business. Amazon has accelerated the demise of several businesses by their merciless competition. I mean, we are a capitalist society. That is kind of the point. I mean, they're so good at doing what they do, it has forced out some mom and pop stores around them, which, you know, regardless of how you feel about that, it is something that needs to be taken into account of as far as the surrounding economical climate. Next up is the social analysis. How does society influence internet shopping? I'm going to pull another brand in for a moment to demonstrate what I'm talking about. Some online stores like Sephora, they do great sales online. However, if you were to go into their actual store in the mall or in a strip mall, you would recognize there are no registers. Even then, the associates would help you order your products then online, or if they have the products there, they will check you out electronically. So it's kind of an interesting thing that they have no registers. Now, moving on, demographics and social acceptability. The conventional wisdom is that women drive shopping trends since they control up to 80% of household spending. However, when it comes to e-commerce, men drive nearly as much spending online in the US as women. Now, this is wonderful that most men and women are shopping and they feel comfortable shopping online just as much as the other. Um, Millennials are going to be spending the most time online, though, and the most amount of money. They spend about $2,000 per year. Millennials were raised on computers, feeling comfortable with computers, so demographically and economically, going back to the last portion, they are just kind of doing better than the generation before in that way. They're feeling more comfortable and they have a little bit more of a expendable income earlier on. It has also been determined that social networks could be positively associated with purchases because consumers on social networks are frequently exposed to information about products and consumption-related activities. We want to buy what our friends buy. If our friends tell us that, a certain product is wonderful, we are going to see it on social media and believe them, or perhaps even draw a different conclusion depending on how you feel about that person. So, social media is big in determining how we're going to be buying and purchasing in the future. Next is the technological analysis. First, we're going to start with innovation. Hello, Alexa. Amazon has completely changed the average household. And you can control, through Alexa, almost every electrical part of one's house. Any part that can be managed is managed now with Alexa. Alexa is also a companion. You can voice add things for shopping lists. You can do all sorts of great innovative things. These factors pertain to innovation in technology that may affect the operations of the industry and the market favorability or unfavorability. Now, some people might think that this is, a little bit too much of technology running our lives or our houses, and this can also make an impact on a business. Also, technological research from the things that we get from Alexa, from the information that she picks up, or not even from Alexa, from the cell phones and from other things, that is all compiled into research, and that research then is put forward and it's made to help be even more innovative. Next would be, is the market technologically aware? I think that would be a big yes. Yes, we are more technologically more aware than ever. We want good technology that makes our lives easier, but we want that technology to be secure. Next up is our legal analysis. So how do the current laws affect Amazon and the web industry in general? The tax problem would probably be the largest thing that is really kind of riding the brand in the industry right now. Whenever you have an online store, who pays taxes and sales tax on those items you buy? Courts have ruled that sales taxes cannot be collected unless there's a physical presence. Now, this is up for debate because they say the distribution centers of Amazon, and they do have tangible places that business is being conducted. However, not necessarily sold from, but that's all up for debate. However, there is a way to pay sales taxes. People can self-report, but many people don't. As a result of this low compliance rate and the increasing amount of internet commerce, states have been more motivated to develop new ways. It's called the Amazon Law, and it's to capture uncollected used taxes while still complying with the U.S. Constitution. Because in the Constitution, we're all supposed to be paying taxes. Next, I would go with consumer standards in this legal portion. Some merchants arrange transactions through social media, and it can be a little, I don't know, it's not really what Amazon would want, because these people are leaving reviews, and Amazon's not aware of this, and they can't regulate this. It's done in other companies of the industries too. So they'll leave a nice glowing, review on a product, but how do we know this product was really, bought and sold and reviewed properly and correctly? 2 years ago, Amazon filed lawsuits against more than 1,000 people who were alleging they were writing fake product reviews. So this is something that cannot be going on because it brings down customer value. Also, there has been plenty of class action suits against Amazon for all sorts of things. But I know some are still in court and they're still going through this. But the class action suits do have an impact on a brand if they are won. The last portion of the PESTLE analysis is the environmental analysis. What are our global concerns? Many thought for years that online shopping was a greener way to shop, that we were not driving to the store, we're sitting at home, therefore we're not spending as much on gas or using our cars as much and putting out more carbon into our environment. But an increase in the number of home shopping purchases, they have found, increases travel time, traffic delays, and vehicle emissions, which is not good. Researchers have also found that delivery trucks contribute substantially to the burden of fine particulate matter, which goes into the air and has many effects on human health. So this would be one concern. Second global concern is that which direction do we take our company, knowing what we know about the environment and about transportation? It's a hot debate. A lot of people are saying that, it's better to shop online. It does take more cars off the road, so we would only then have delivery trucks. But I think the jury's still out on that one. So, but this would all have to be considered in the environmental analysis. So now we are going to start our SWOT analysis for Amazon and for the web industry. We're going to start with our strengths. One of the strengths are repeat customers. It's easy to build long-lasting relationships with your customers because your customer service is right there waiting for them. You can also use your current resources and you can go global. As for using things like your current resources, we can use things like FedEx, which is an industry and a company that is already in place. So we can just use FedEx for our shipping and we don't have to put in our own, way of getting our products to the customers. It's good for FedEx too because it picks up their business, especially during the peak holidays season and also during Cyber Monday. It's shown through much research that customer satisfaction plays a substantial role in the judgment making for online shoppers, thus leading to repetitive purchases. So if we like what we're doing online, we continue to do it. Companies can also go anywhere. This is how we are going global. This means that our customer base is almost endless, and everyone can be a potential customer. And if they can, as long as they can access the internet, anyone can access our company's store. The next part would be our weaknesses. We have basically 3 weaknesses that are highlighted, which is the demographical weakness. The next would be competitive market. And lastly, it would be you're only accessible as your customers' resources allow. So they found out through demographical research that the heaviest user is the lowest in income and education. The medium user is the most educated and also has the highest income, and the lightest user is second in both income and education. Gender, income, and educational differences all play into whether or not a person becomes your customer. We want to be strong against all demographics. We want to make sure that everybody, no matter what kind of education or what kind of income they have, is shopping with our brand. Next would be the net neutrality laws, which have caused a lot of stress and anxiety for online shopping stores and for the online industry altogether. If a company is blocked or throttled through an ISP, its customers would see much slower access and, of course, making it harder to find what they're looking for, and it becomes frustrating, and they won't be able to browse the site and purchase freely. The standards are set by a specific company, and the rest are expected to follow. Now, this is pertaining to the competitive market. Amazon has 2-day shipping right now, which is a big draw to the customers. But now Walmart is also offering 2-day shipping, which is keeping up with Amazon. But we don't want to lose any customers there. So we need to make sure that the competitive market becomes not just a weakness for us, but we want it to become our advantage. The next part of our SWOT analysis would be opportunities. So what kind of opportunities do we have that this industry and that Amazon is facing? Well, one opportunity is we have a great customer base, and it can be reached anywhere. There are many reasons that people are now shopping online. More people feel comfortable doing it with this method by doing it from their couch. You don't have to get dressed. You don't have to do anything. You just can shop anytime, anywhere, whenever you feel like it, and for any item. The next one would be that it covers all need. Pretty much anything that you could ever dream of is on the internet waiting for you to buy it. It's all there. And Amazon does a great way of being versatile and offering so many products to its customers. Lastly would be customer service. Customer service is usually superior for any online store over other stores. The customer service can be 24 hours a day, and problems can be addressed instantly, and you can even use different mediums. Let's say if you don't want to talk to somebody face-to-face about your problem, you can email them, you can even chat. This is a version of working smarter, not harder. Over here, you have, right over here, we have dimensions of online service. Now, the dimensions and their description pretty much are all areas where opportunities are present and where opportunities are positive for the shopper and for the shopping value. Just to take a few, responsiveness, as you can see right here. Speed and accuracy of the responses is fast, like we talked about. Value, cost involved in the site, including product pricing and shipping costs. We can see what everything kind of costs right there. And also, a lot of shoppers like to comparatively shop online. The next portion of the SWOT analysis would be threats. There are several threats that that face the online consumer and also the industry and the brand as a whole. One threat that they have and that they share in common would be security risk, which we all kind of know about. But one threat that I would say is unique to, namely Amazon and to this industry, would be social media. Now, we talked about how it can be a positive thing, but it can also be a not so positive thing. Social media posts have facilitated and perpetuated ideas of customer dissatisfaction that borders on trickery. As you can see right here, we have a little post that shows where somebody ordered a TV stand, and well, what they got was doll furniture. Now, a lot of people can see this as a purposeful trick that Amazon plays on their customers, which I assure you is not, but maybe it'll bring us to our next point. If website functionality was a little better, and that maybe we could see somewhere in the description that this is actually doll furniture and not real furniture, that these problems might not happen. Perceived risk for customers would be product performance, financial risk, time, social, security, and privacy. The higher the risk perceived by the customers, the more is the probability they will not purchase online. So these would be a lot of threats that are facing the industry and Amazon and the consumer as a whole. Next would be an analysis done with Porter's 5 forces. Now, the circles that are in the cross shape in the center are all the facets of Porter's 5 forces. These things, these ideas, are all kind of pointing themselves towards the middle to the introduction of new product or industry attractiveness. Now I'm going to go through and explain them one by one, as we have the little arrows that kind of correspond with them going around them in a kind of a pinwheel shape. They kind of all lead to one another. So let's start then with the bargaining power of suppliers. Now, bargaining power of suppliers means that the suppliers can actually be switching cost, but they can also be threatened by innovation. Things might become obsolete, or they might become a little bit more cheaper because of certain innovations. Next, I would go to brand identity and changes and buyer volume. Now, especially for Amazon, this would be telltale of the holidays and of the membership cost, how it has been rising and lowering recently. Now, the holidays, there's a bigger volume of people who are buying from Amazon, so this will fluctuate. Next, I would go to the new industry growth and diversity of competitors. Amazon is now facing more online stores that copy their model. So, as we have mentioned before, Walmart is now trying to kind of catch up, kind of be, just as good as Amazon is at having their 2-day shipping and just being very good at their customer service and giving the things that customers want. Last, I would say, is the last thing would be can produce or be sold more proficiently through competitors or innovation. Now, this would be the part of threat of substitutes. That's why it's pointing to that last little arrow there. What this means is there are certain substitutes that can be, put into the market. For example, Google. They have a similar answer to the AI voice simulation things of Alexa. So this would be an example of how innovation of the competitors are affecting the brand. In concluding, I offer you some recommendations. E-commerce is booming. Online shopping is booming. Despite the threats and weaknesses that companies like Amazon might face, I believe the strengths and opportunities will be more valuable on consumer decisions. I recommend a public relations plan to diffuse any criticism from the president or other lawmakers, given how influential he is and they are. I also recommend that the privacy and security risk for customers be a most important issue going forward. We are always addressing this. We always know that it needs to be better, and additional resources need to be allocated to reinforce the website's security and also just their descriptions of what our responsibility is as customers. I recommend that a new competitive edge must be introduced by way of adding incentive to customers to use Prime because of the many other companies that are emulating Amazon's customer benefits. Lastly, touching back on the functionality of the website, this must also be a very important thing to consider because social media we want social media to concur with Amazon's reliability and not its downfalls. I thank you very much.